Welcome to Live Skills Math Junior. Today we are going to talk about budgets. So, budgets. What is a budget? You might wonder exactly what it is. So, we can look to Oreo, Greg, and Clem here, and we can ask them what a budget is. And they will tell us that a budget is a plan that shows how you intend to spend your money. So, if we are thinking of Oreo, Greg, and Clem here, how do you think they are planning to spend their money? We have decided to start giving them a cat allowance to help them to have some more involvement and independence in how they choose to spend their money, what types of things they would prefer to spend their money on. So, a budget is a plan that includes predicted income and predicted expenses or costs. So it includes the amount of income we think we're going to get. In the case of Greg, Oreo, and Clem, they're going to get the amount of their kitty allowance and their predicted expenses or costs. So for them, it will include some dry cat food. It will probably include some wet cat food. It might include some special cat treats. It might include a toy or something like that. If they were humans, they might also need to throw in a home, some transportation, utilities, things like that. But they're cats, so they have a little more leeway than we do. So, budgets. You might ask, when should you budget? Well, there's Oreo and Greg right there, and I think that they should probably budget. Oreo will tell you on at least a monthly and possibly a yearly basis. So you can see there Oreo has really got himself prepared. He has April 2024, which is what it is right now in the background, and he has his budget. He's been preparing for the month of April. So he is all prepared, knows his predicted income and expenses for this month and for the months in the foreseeable future because they'll all be fairly similar. He might also consider coming up with a yearly budget and looking at maybe expenses he buys over a longer period or things he doesn't necessarily buy every month. It can be helpful to do that as well, a whole budget for all of 2024, but at least for now we're going to focus, and I think it's really important to have that monthly budget. And Oreo, he's prepared. So budgets, you might ask why budget? If you never know, we're saying predictable expenses and predictable income, and we can't always predict those, so why bother? Why bother doing up a budget? Well, for Greg, Clem, and Oreo here, you see this bed? You may have noticed in the earlier picture, the three of them all squeezed in, squished into that bed. Literally every day there is a new kind of configuration of how they've squeezed themselves in. I don't know if you know the game Tetris or not, but it's kind of like Tetris with cats. So Greg, Oreo, and Clem would like to buy an extra bed. So that's one of the reasons we might budget, is because we want to buy something that's not in our regular budget, but something else. So we need to include that. We also need to know what our expenses are and be able to plan and be prepared. If we have a budget, then we're prepared. And even if things come and happen that aren't a part of it, say poor Clem gets his tail caught in the door, which has happened as well to Greg, then he's prepared to pay that costly vet bill because we all know it's not cheap. So in general, the reasons that we want to budget. Things like goals, right? They want to buy that, the cats want to buy that bed, so that's a goal they want to achieve. Savings. So having just a general thing of savings, just called savings. It's a broad thing and it can include different things in it, but just in general. So it could be for emergencies, it could be to save up for something in particular, like that bed, or something else that they want to purchase in the future. Retirement savings, that's another type of savings. So maybe one day they want to retire and not do their chores anymore and not get their kitty allowance. Well, they're going to need to be prepared to retire and have enough money to be able to do that. It's also just a good habit. You ever these muscles that you do when you play hockey or soccer and you exercise your muscles to get them ready? Well, your financial habits are like that too. When we're prepared, when we're constantly budgeting and planning and things, then our financial muscles are working and we do better at our finances. And it's just great to have a plan. Even a plan that's not perfect, that might not happen exactly as we think, having that plan gives us a bit of a vision for what's going to happen. And also for Greg, Oreo, and Clem. So you might ask, budgets. How exactly do you budget? Well, here, this is one simple form of budget. They've divided up their cat food into 3 spots, so we've budgeted some food for each of them, so each of them is able to get some food. I'm going to tell you that this is really, really helpful when you have Greg in your house because left to his own devices, Greg would literally eat all of those piles of food. So, budget. Exactly, like what do you need to do a budget? So, you need 2 things, and you can see them here. Your income. So, we've got some kitty money there. This is their kitty allowance, and that's their income. Now, if you're not a cat, you probably will have a job, and your income will likely be from a job, and it will be fairly predictable. You'll know exactly what you're going to get each month. If you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, it might be a little more flexible, and you might not know, so you might need to be a little more cautious. So money is usually our income. Expenses, that's the money that every month we're going to put out. So for the cats, they're going to need their dry food, their wet food, they're going to have some toys, different things like that. For humans, we definitely want to have a home, transportation, food, all those things. And so we need to know exactly what our income and what our expenses are in order to make our budget. So budgets, you might say, who should budget? Well, Greg here, he's kind of a spender kind of thing, so he's definitely should budget. But really, everyone should budget. And there's that cat bed there for you to see them all squishing in. But really, everybody needs to budget because it doesn't matter how much money you make, whether you make a lot of money, whether you make a little bit of money. If your income doesn't match up with your expenses, you're going to have challenges. Therefore, you always want to be making sure that you are spending and that your expenses are less than your income. So you have a little left over, or at least you're not going into debt. Now, debt is something that can happen if your budget is going in the wrong way and you're spending more than you're making. But debt is a video for another day that you'll be seeing really soon, I hope. I hope everyone has enjoyed our video on budgets today. I hope you've learned a little bit, and I hope you're going to go out there and make your own budget right now. Have a great day.